Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.
Are you ready to learn the 3 secrets to launching a successful podcast? Hi, I'm Bill, a recent client of the Podcast Mogul. If you've been thinking about starting a podcast but aren't sure where to begin, he's got you covered. He is hosting a free webinar where he will share the 3 secrets that can help you launch, grow, and monetize your podcast without any fancy equipment or technical headaches. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot now and let him help get your podcast off the ground.
Yeah, I don't think most people need to take such crazy, make such massive changes in their life just to start a business.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 10 of Invest in Yourself, the Digital Entrepreneur Podcast. I am, of course, your host with the most, Feel Better. And on today's episode, we have Erica Leary on. She's the business owner consultant. She helps businesses find that extra 10K that they didn't know was there. And I'm so happy that she's on the show. She explains how she started 2 businesses and so much more. So I'm just going to let us get right into it. So I'll talk to you guys in the after the episode.
Erica, give me the 30-second pitch about yourself.
So my name is Erica Leary. I am the founder of the Power Profit Formula. And are we recording already?
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, my name is Erica Leary. I am the founder of Power Profit Formula, and I help entrepreneurs, local businesses increase their revenue and get more appointments.
That's amazing. Now, obviously, I have had you provide me with a little bio about you, a little quick journey. And you left your country, or you left a country without any knowledge, just to be like, yeah, you know what? Peace out.
Wild hair.
Peace out, wild hair. I'm Donald Ducking it. So what made you decide to pack up and just go, you know what? I'm going to start a new journey.
I think it was a combination of things. I think probably all entrepreneurs at one point in time or another kind of go through that, you know, I want to say midlife crisis, but I wasn't in midlife crisis at the point. But basically, I knew I was done with corporate. I didn't want to do that anymore. I had this burning desire to learn Spanish my entire life. So hence the Spanish route. So I went to Panama, jumped on a plane, came over, had really no Spanish, didn't really know anybody, didn't know what I was going to do.
Great plan. So far, I'm loving this plan. Seems,
Yep.
Well, apparently it worked out, because now you're an international, business consultant, helping businesses increase in 45 minutes, at least 45% of their business. I love your book, How I Found 10K in 45 Minutes. It's a genius title, I must say.
Thank you.
I was in the process of reading it, but then I was distracted, but I got fairly far in it. And I have to say, easy, breezy read. It's not difficult, simple concept. So I thank you for that, because as a simple man, complex things may not always be the best, but
So you packed up, went to Panama, right?
I did. So I think at the beginning, I had no idea what I was going to do. I started teaching English because that was the easiest thing to do.
Seems like it, foreign country.
Yeah.
I'm English. You need English. I can help you.
I couldn't get any kind of job because I didn't speak the language. So yeah, that was like the only thing I could do. So I started teaching English, and I had never taught before either.
Oh,
and I fell in love with teaching. I was, threw me in. Literally, I called a place, and they said, okay, you can start tomorrow. And I was like, okay, great. No idea what I was doing. But the worst thing was I'd never done like public transportation, which for anybody who lives in a foreign country, this sounds like so ridiculous. But to an American who's driven her whole life, it was like traumatizing. So I was very stressed out about the whole, like, how am I going to get there? Because it was literally like across town. And anyway, trying to get a taxi was like a feat in and of itself. It was probably an hour to get a taxi to take me to where I wanted to go. Anyway, by the time I got there, they were like, okay, you're going to teach this class. It's 4 hours long, no books. I was like, gotcha.
So I'm putting on Titanic for the first half. Maybe Lord of the Rings.
I didn't. I stood in front of the classroom, and I think I was so nervous about like the taxi ride that I forgot to be nervous, that I had no idea what I was doing and didn't know how to teach. And so I just got up in front of the classroom, and I guess I just was a born teacher because I loved it. I made up stuff, like pulled
like
it
a
out
normal
of,
teacher does. Yes.
stuff, pulled it out of thin air and taught those kids English. And I still have, from like my first classes, people come back to me now like, oh my God, you were the best teacher. Like, if you only knew.
That, I'm sorry, is the best compliment you can I did some teaching when I was younger. We have a company called Mad Science here in Canada that teaches science in educational ways to the kids.
Oh, good. They need that.
Yeah. And so like they do, they to understand rockets, they have the kids build a rocket, and we actually launch it. I've launched over 100 rockets.
That's
and let me tell you, that's mainly was the reason why I got the job, because I got to launch rockets. Build and launch rockets, right?
And that's why the kids also learned, because you thought it was fun.
Yeah. So I get the love of teaching, especially kids, because most of them are so open to it, and they're just absorbent of the knowledge. So yes, I get it, how you can fall in love with it, because when you get that group or you get those kids that you just, it's amazing.
It is. So long story short, I'm on a plane back to the States, or here, I can't even remember which way. And I'm at the airport, and I'm an avid reader. I had nothing to read. And this is the one and only time in my entire life, like before and after, never again. I bought a book in the airport, those airport stores or whatever.
Nice books.
And that's why I never bought a book there. But this one time, I don't know why I didn't have a book, and I bought the 4 Hour Work Week.
Tim Ferriss's 4 Hour Work Week. That's an essential book. I have to pick it up. I haven't picked it up yet, but I know I have to pick it up. It's an amazing. I know I'm behind.
If you haven't read it, just let me synopsis real quick, because what happens is a lot of people that don't read it think it's like, okay, I'm going to sit on the beach and put my feet up and I'm going to work 4 hours a week. And it's not about that. It's about first of all, it's about the idea, which for me was everything. Like I studied marketing, and I loved marketing, but I didn't go into marketing because I didn't understand how you did it in a company. The only way I saw it in a company was like creating ads and stuff, and it wasn't my thing. So I didn't really get it at that point. And when I read this book, it was like, click, loved it. So I originally went into, this was back in the day when that book came out. There were only hardback books. Yeah. So my original business was digital marketing, because that's, the only thing I could think of. That's what it was. So I did websites, SEO, all of that stuff. And I outsourced. That's what the book was about. And exactly. And I loved it. So eventually I kind of combined the two sort of passions, and over time learned a lot more. Like I told you, I studied marketing, but I also like really kind of geeked out on marketing and thought it was fun. So all the time I was on the computer studying marketing, and then I kind of merged the two, and that's sort of how the consulting started.
Hey, it worked out apparently.
It did. And I think, like you were saying about the rockets, I think when you do something that's so much fun to you, people understand that, and people kind of can see that you're into it. And most people don't geek out on marketing. Like most people don't find that fun or interesting. And so, to learn from somebody who's like, oh my God, but this is blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And that's how I am. Like, I love the marketing stuff, and hey, why don't you do this with your company? And this is the best way you can do this, and that's that. And people don't want to study it. They just want you to say, these are probably the best ideas that you could do. And for me, it's fun.
Give me the shortcuts. I don't have time. Yeah.
Exactly.
Exactly. I love marketing as well, because I love the psychology behind it.
That's what it is. It's so fun. It's like a massive puzzle. Yeah. I think for me, I love the Big Mac. I always talk about McDonald's because I love McDonald's, but the whole concept of McDonald's I think is so cool. I mean, I love the Big Mac, and I know, like, in my brain that it is not the best hamburger I've ever eaten. I know it isn't, but why do I crave the Big Mac? Like, all the time. I love it and I crave it. And I think the golden arches, and it just, to me, it's the social science psychology behind the whole thing is so fascinating.
Oh, it is. It's one of the, for me, because I come from a sociology, anthropology background. So I like looking at how ads have changed society, but also how society has changed advertising.
Yes.
Because you have that, like in the 80s, if we look at McDonald's, right? This guy bought it from the family and marketed it as the fast food place to go. He's like, this is our promise. This is what we're going to deliver. And he delivered on the golden promises, his golden arches, and the psychology of how they exponentially grew to be like one of the, well, it really is. It's the lasting fast food restaurant in the world, pretty much.
Yeah.
Like
it is. It's like, I mean, no matter what country you go to, that is one word everybody knows.
I think they did an amazing job marketing, and like just studying their marketing from the beginning to now probably would be like take double the time, because there's so much nuance into their marketing.
And Coca-Cola.
Yeah, Coca-Cola doesn't hurt to have that marketing budget behind it as well.
But and their marketing, talking about like their advertising and stuff, is so almost cliche in how they do it, totally to the emotional side, but it works,
They if they're doing it and they're spending millions of dollars on it, it must be working, or somehow they're seeing a correlation. So I love that idea that going after the emotional side of marketing, that helps as well as going through statistical, for some people.
Right. So cool.
So you started, you bridged your love of teaching, your love of marketing, brought them together, created this amazing business. And I'm guessing from the wind, you're either still in Panama, I take it?
So yeah, I spend most of my time here in Panama, and I love it. I'm from Atlanta, Georgia. So I do most of my business in Atlanta, Southeast region, some Northeast, but most of it is I don't do much. I'm not going to say I don't do any, because I do some, but I don't do much in Panama. Most of it is in the United States. Makes or sense. More international. Yeah.
Okay. And judging that you're living, because we just had a guest on earlier in the week who now lives in, is it Puerto Rico or the Dominican? He lives in another, he also retired pretty much down to an island or like a sunny tropical destination. And this is just proving to me that I need to, one, retire to a sunny destination, two, I need to get my digital marketing on.
Yeah. I think, I'm kind of like the I'm kind of like, what do they call it? The
Snowboards.
no, the guy that makes the shoes. His
The
kids
shoemaker.
always wear the worst
cobblestone.
shoes.
Yeah, the
Yeah.
cobblestone. The
Like
cobblestone.
I know what to do, and I don't really do much of it myself either, because when I first started, I did the digital marketing, and then it just kind of went, word of mouth and stuff like that. And I started a little bit of outreach and stuff, and it was enough to keep me going. So
Of course, no. Like if you provide, like another guest we had on, he said customer service. He's the doctor of customer service, pretty much. He's a former chiropractor that uses customer service to increase business. And I love the fact, like I was reading your book, he doesn't believe in marketing either. Like he says you have to market, but like you can do this, just provide great customer service. You're going to provide get better results, and which is true.
I think it depends on like the size of your company and where you want it to be. I own a language school that was a brick and mortar, and I moved it into an online business pivot. I did the massive pivot.
That's a big pivot
Over COVID. And so I am now in the process of, it's kind of interesting, and it was fun because that company, I did the same thing. Like when I first started it, my target was like 5-mile radius. I did a little bit of advertising and that was it, but I didn't have to do much really to fill. It was a little bitty place to fill what I wanted to do, yada, yada, yada. However, now it is a totally different ballgame. I've pivoted it. And now I have taken like my own kind of advice, which I never really even looked at any of my businesses with my own business consulting kind of side. And now I'm really like going full in on that business, because now that it's online, it doesn't need to be a 5-mile radius. Now I can explode that business. And I think one of the other things that I do is, I call it align, but it is also like looking at your life and your business and kind of combining them to see, where you're at, who you want to be, what you want to do. And everybody kind of needs to know like where they want to be in the end, but like
before the end, where do you want to go before you have to decide
in 10 years,
10 years
type thing. And so when I look at myself and I know where I want to be in 10 years, I know like, okay, my consulting can probably stay the same, grow a little bit, I'm good with that. The other business, I can explode that business. Do I want to own a multi-million company, dollar company? No. But can I make it that? Yes. And so my idea now is to actually make that company an exit that I can sell.
I love it. I love the entrepreneurial spirit is so deep in you. You're like, I have my consulting business. It's fine. It's doing good. But I have this other business
that all of a sudden like lights me up now.
Yeah.
Because before it sort of was there and it was running itself, and I can hire teachers and I have hire administrator, and I can have my fun with it. But it wasn't so exciting for me really. Once I got it up and moving, it wasn't so exciting for me. However, now that I did the pivot and it's in my world, which I kind of find more exciting, the whole online thing, now I'm like, now I'm starting to look at it from the business side. So yeah, it's, I think it's fun. And I do think that it is something that is different for everybody, because, some people want to have, an entire corporation underneath them. That's not me.
No.
I moved to Panama,
for simplicity.
Right. I mean, I remember I was doing, so one of my stints, I came and then I went back and then I came. And when I went back, I didn't want to get a real job because I was coming back.
Yeah, you knew you were going to be gone in 12 months.
So one of my girlfriends was running a temp agency at the time. I'm like, can you get me something temp for while I'm here? I'm going back. So anyway, I worked for this corporation. The guy was like a Harvard grad. The company was a billion. He was a billionaire. The company was a multi-billion-dollar company, and the entire.
Was it Jeff Bezos by any chance?
No. This guy was so brilliant. I mean, he was so brilliant. But anyway, the main company was over in India. This guy had just moved from Florida to Atlanta. And so it was literally like 5 guys. It was like the owner, the CFO, I don't remember the other titles, but
just
anyway,
a whole bunch of titles and no one.
Yes, exactly. And I was like, I don't even remember what I was. I was like the secretary, admin. I don't know. I just did whatever they told me to do. So the guy, when I was leaving, they were trying to hire me on. And when I was leaving, and the guy was like, why would you leave and go to a country where you were literally going to make pennies on the dollar? Like,
it's a good question. I to be fair,
I hear you.
To a billionaire, it makes sense to ask that question. However, he doesn't know how much love you have and how much greatness you have down there and already created, that wealth that's going to be created there. So yeah.
Well, at that moment, I had not started any business. I had a business prior to that, but I don't think I knew at that moment that I was an entrepreneur, you know? I mean, I probably should have. I mean, who like gets up and leaves their country? And
that's kind of like the number one sign, like you're willing to take giant risks. Here's an entrepreneur, you know, like that's a big risk to take, like going somewhere where, well, like I've jumped on a plane for 72 hours, flew to England. That's not a big risk for me because everyone speaks English there.
Why was it 72 hours?
So first off, it's all I could get off from work for my 9 to 5.
Oh, I thought you meant the plane. I thought you meant you took plane after plane after plane for 72 hours. Holy cow.
As an entrepreneur, I value my time.
Yes, exactly.
So I'll allow one layover. That's it. And that's to Toronto because I'm in Montreal. So I go to Toronto, then over there. That's the layovers I like, unless it's like down to like New York and then over, something like that. One layover. That's it. Or a straight flight. I can't do like 85 layovers or a layover for 10 hours in another city. No. So no.
Funny. I love flying because I think it's like my time to read a book that I haven't read, to do like, you know, watch it, do a class that I have. No, I don't do like real work. I do like watch a class that I wanted to watch, you know, that kind of stuff. I do like yourself. Fun. Yeah. Pure education, which to me is my fun time.
Well, no, it's fair. I like educating as well as having the fun times. But like for me, flying, I agree with you. Flying is a nice, peaceful time. But I also value, like, I don't want to spend 20 hours in a flight when I can take a 10-hour flight. But the reason I went to London for 72 hours was, one, all the time I could get off work. But two, I just wanted to see if I could do it by myself. Like go into a city that I have never been into and can I survive? Right? Because I've never done that. I'm in Canada.
Was awesome.
Like Canadians are nice, period. End of discussion. Doesn't matter where you are across Canada. But like going to a different country, yes, it's England and the UK. But still, it's a different country that I've never been to. It's the furthest I've been from my house, you know, like, so for me, I understand that. I get that passion to why quit this job where the guy's probably going to pay you with nearly anything you want to hire you to go live in Panama.
And do what? Yeah.
Do what? But you, like, Panama's great. I love Panama. I enjoy what I was doing. I taught and I made a whole bunch of friends. I'm going back to Panama to teach. That's what I'm doing, you know, or whatever you wanted to. So I love that I get the entrepreneurial spirit and that, but it's amazing that you took a huge risk. Like I can't even fathom.
Yeah, I don't think most people need to take such crazy, make such massive changes in their life just to start a business. I'm not like, you know, I know everybody has their own personality. I don't advocate that at all. I think, you know, a lot of people would have to do it at night and on weekends until they got something. Totally get that. I mean, I totally get that.
Yeah, no, but I think the main point from that story is be open to change and don't be risk averse. Be open to the risks, because it could have gone down in a fiery bowl like when you went to Panama, but you have that experience and plus you have that story. You have a great story. If it failed, it's a great story, a cautionary tale. If it succeeds, it's a great story to tell everybody else. You know, like I went to Panama and now I have 2 multi-billion-dollar businesses. Yay! You know, that's the goal, you know, or
not there quite yet, but
not yet. You're going to get there. Like, look, you already know what you have to do to make your school a multi-million-dollar business. So I'm not multi-billion. It's there. Like I'm pretty sure you sell your business. You can then use that to say, hey, I use the same techniques I teach to sell this $1 million business I just sold and built, so you have another avenue that you can coach schools now, which is amazing.
Exactly. Yeah. So I typically work with like service-based businesses and coaches. For me, I think they're fun. So that's like kind of my fun side. And then I do local service-based businesses.
Which all local businesses need some help in marketing because...
And not many people do business consulting for them because it's a hard business. It's every single one is totally different, which for me is fun. But for a lot of people, they like to just do, like, if somebody just does dentists or somebody just does, contractors or chiropractor, whatever. The reason I like to do a variety of different ones is because I think that sometimes when you bring in ideas from different industries, that kind of is what makes you or your company, your marketing, a little bit different. So those ideas, if you work with just dentists, you're always in that same industry all the time. Okay, I get that, clearly, you get better and better and better. But I think as far as consulting or marketing or both, I think that having that diverse kind of look, and look at different businesses I can help businesses in a way that somebody who, niches down on just one business cannot. And so, depends on which side of the fence you're on. But I think I do sort of niche because I do local businesses that are service-based. But
that niche is small, but it's also huge and underserved. The doctor of customer service, he looks at 50 people and employees. If you have 50 employees max, that's the businesses he goes after. He
doesn't want the massive ones.
Because it's more headache than it's worth, and there's bigger businesses going after them. So why compete with them when I can?
They have departments. I mean, most of them have entire departments to work on it. It's a lot more fun to work on companies that don't have entire departments already doing it.
Yeah, and because one,
they don't need you as much.
When they don't have a department, they desperately need you to help them out. But also, they don't have time as a business owner to think about the digital marketing, how my sales page is going to look, or the squeeze page. I don't have time. Or like, he reads an article that's 10 years old about squeeze pages and it's out of date. So when he starts putting it in, it doesn't work. So he's like, this is bullshit. But you come in and you go, look, do this, this, and this.
Yeah. Or I'll get it done for them, which is what I end up doing for most. Because, I mean, let's be honest. You run your own business. I run too. I mean, you don't have time for that. No. You really just don't. You don't. You need to know what you want to do and get it done. And that's it.
Yeah, no, I have, this is my technically third job, my podcasting. I have my podcasting production company that I do. Plus I have my day-to-day job. So like I'm
super packed.
Yeah, I'm packed. Like Thursdays and Tuesdays are probably my only day that I don't work, but I'm working on my business. I'm working on everything else other than taking in clients. So I understand the hustle and grind that there is. And yeah, if someone else can take something off my plate,
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
and with podcasting, like with your business, that a lot of people that do their own podcasts, I mean, they can try to do it themselves all day long, but it's impossible. There's so much that goes into it.
Oh yeah. It's so my first podcast that I did, I ended up being burnt out. I did it for about nearly 4 years, burnt me out because I was doing it all myself. I was handling the marketing. I was handling the editing. I was handling everything. And I was just like, oh my God. And it was like, I would record and then release. So I would literally have less than 24 hours to do everything.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Cause I was smart that way. Now I'm like, I'm going to batch record and then have a week to work on it. So, and break it up into seasons so that like, if anything hiccups, I still have a time between seasons, usually a month. So like, that's really great.
Oh, you do? You take a month off in between your seasons?
Yeah. So except for season 1 and 2, which I should have thought of before, but I'm learning.
We all evolve.
Yeah. It's every episode is an evolution. of previous. So like I've learned, like having that month off between, one, it allows me to breathe and not be like, okay, I have to put out a
And
podcast, I
not
have to
burn
record.
out.
Yes, the main point is not burning out. So
Oh, I like that idea.
yeah, batch recording is something I do. Next season, season 3, I'm going to have 2 weeks instead of a full month. So people like, boom, these are your 2 weeks to record in. Choose time wisely.
Yeah,
So-
yeah.
So that can actually help me too. But what's great about podcasting, it's another avenue of digital marketing.
And a good one.
Oh, it's a great one. Like,
I am like a podcast addict.
have
I
you ever
love
thought of starting
podcasts.
your own?
I have, but like we just talked about, it's a lot of work and it's something you really need to be committed to. And I actually have thought about it for the other business as well.
I could literally send you a folder that I have for my clients that will actually get you started on a podcast. Or it's a simple podcast pitch, I call it. And it just tells you exactly what you need to do to figure out what your podcast is about. And once you know what your podcast is about, there's a questionnaire for the first 100 episodes.
I would love that. That would
I'll
be awesome.
definitely send it over to you after the
I probably have like at least the beginning parts of what I need to do already settled out, but I have a microphone already. I've got the
See, what's really interesting
Think
about
about it,
podcasting,
Yeah.
this is all you technically need. You just need your phone and headphones. Now, the quality won't be there, obviously, but if you want to test it, do it like that.
Right,
Do 33 episodes, see if you can get 33 episodes, and then you can continue. And someone as genius as you, as digital marketer, you already know that you have a history of digital marketing experience you can talk about. You have your school that you can talk about and get your students on and provide extra educational material for them. But also you can talk about the growth of your the school and do it as a case study.
I've thought about actually doing that, because that would be a really cool thing for people starting off to want to follow.
Yeah, no, it's a genius idea. And what's great about
The only thing is like I would have to hold myself to doing all this stuff that I say I'm going to do.
Well, yeah, there's
And
that
because
too.
it's my own business, shoemaker.
I may do it, I may not. That's why I am alive. All I need is content.
So funny.
I actually do it for one of my clients. He's a 37-year-old millionaire, retired millionaire from stocks, pretty much. And I handle his podcast. I'm like, here's all the information. He's in the process of recording, and it's like, just record the episodes, and I'll take care of the rest.
And give it to me. Yeah, see, that's nice.
Because I know how much work it is.
Exactly.
But I also know who to go to take care of most of the work for me.
Exactly. Yeah.
So it's really great to get that. But enough about like me selling you on podcasting, because that's not important. Everybody knows how important podcasting is. I want to get more into your like the digital marketing. What would be here 3 tips for someone who wants to either start their own school of language, since you've apparently been able to do that, or start their own digital marketing agency. What would be you choose either one, maybe 3 tips that you would wish you were told when you started?
Okay, so this is probably not even going to have anything to do with life itself, but I would say number one thing you really want to do is figure out where you want to be and what you want to do. Because I think a lot of people don't sit down and think about that and end up doing something that's not getting them closer to that end game. So a lot of people ask me like, oh my God, how did you end up in Panama? We know it was a little wild.
Fair question with a great story. Okay.
Right. Wild hair, right? But can you do it? Yes, you absolutely can. And so I think a lot of people don't really figure out like what would really make you feel
happy,
make you feel retired, even if you're still working, make you feel like, that kind of thing. So figure out what it would be, what that looks like to you. What is your perfect day? I would say number one, before you do any kind of business, figure out what that is. Because a lot of times, even with like the, when I do my counseling for the local businesses, a lot of them, will tell you, what I really want is more time. Well, they're working 60, 80 hours, like can you hire somebody? Can you, like there are a lot of changes that you can make that you're not making because you haven't really thought of what it is that you want. And so I think that would be the number one thing is figure out what you really want, and not in terms of a business, but in terms of your life and your lifestyle and your kind of, I want to say end game, but I don't mean like when you die, but I mean like in 10 years.
Yeah, the end game for the business. Like where do you want to see the business be? But
not just the business. It's not even actually the business. What I'm saying is like, where do you want your life to be in 10 years? So do you want to still have that business in 10 years? Do you want to have sold that business? Do you want to have 100 people working for you? Do you want to have 16 partners, 0 partners? Do you want to be able to go to the beach in the morning and work in the afternoon? What is it that you really, really, really want to do? I mean, some people love working and want to work all day long. Some people want to be able to work, whenever they feel like working. Some people would be okay if they could do seasonal. I work a month or 2 and then I take a month or 2 off. What kind of business would allow you to have that lifestyle? Like you kind of need to figure all that out first, I think. And then, so that would be my number 1. And then my number 2, I would say, is clarify everything. Like get as clear as day on that first point. And then about what you want to do. I think like not being able to articulate what you want to do. Like when I first started, our podcast, I was fumbling and mumbling because I was like caught off guard because I didn't actually realize we were recording.
That's what we do here at Invest Yourself. We try and throw you off guard.
So you want to be able to articulate like what you do and who you're doing it with, to, at, for, whatever. You want to really be able to say that like as succinctly as possible, whether you want to do like a 30-minute elevator pitch or however, but get it down to, really what you do and who you're doing it for, with, whatever. I think that would be number 2. And then the number 3 would be probably, let's see. Oh, there would be so many more right after that. But I think I would say you would want to do some sort of a blueprint before you start. So once you clarify what you want to do, get some sort of a plan in action. And as we all evolve, let it evolve. Don't hold yourself to, oh my God, this is what I said I was going to do, and I have to do this, and blah, blah. No, I mean, we all evolve. When you first start a business, it's this. When, a year or 2 years or 5 years later, when you look at it, it's like over here and gone this way and this way and this way. That's okay. That is okay, but just start it. So kind of that should have been number 3. Just start.
Just start. So the 4 tips
let's amend. Yeah, exactly.
We got tip 4. We're getting 4 tips here. Like I asked for 3, she's providing 4. Just start. Just clarify your have the blueprint, clarify the blueprint, but also clarify what you want to do and find out what makes you happy. Would probably be a summary of number 1, or what you want to be doing to be happy. And those are honestly those echo not exactly, but in feeling what other tips have been given to us here at Invest in Yourself from other guests. They said find what makes you happy.
Yeah, I think, okay, so like say you were the digital marketing agency person, right?
Yeah.
You want a digital marketing agency. Do you want to you want to be a one-man show and do it all yourself? No. Do you want to outsource it all? Do you want to do a little bit and outsource? I mean, because some people start a digital marketing agency because they have like a love of graphics or a love of SEO or something. Maybe they want to still do a part of that themselves and want to outsource the rest. Or maybe they want a partner, maybe they're really great at outsourcing it, but they're horrible at the marketing side. Or maybe they want to have different partners. Maybe, I just think like there's so many different ways you can,
run a business.
Slice a pizza, run a business.
Slice a pizza.
Exactly.
I like that. Slice a pizza.
So I think everybody needs to figure out what it is for them. And the same thing with the school. My way to to start the school was to do a brick and mortar, which thinking back was the funniest, craziest thing. Why did I want a brick and mortar? I never wanted a brick and mortar. Like, why did I do that? Literally, like, I got some crazy idea in my head that I could do a school better than everybody else in Panama, is basically how it started, I think. And just went with it, but didn't stop and say, this is not in my life plan. Why am I creating a brick and mortar when I don't want to be, tied down to a brick and mortar?
Yeah. You don't
So
wanna be tied
now
in
that
place.
exactly. But, once I started it, it kind of,
Took off.
what I did was I got it once I actually, when I'm kind of a crazy person, but when I get something in my head, like I can't get it out of my head, I keep going. So I started it, I got it, but I quickly realized, what am I doing? Like, this isn't really my thing. So that's why, you get other people that can come in. From the minute I started it, I didn't accept cash because I knew somebody else was going to come in and I didn't want them accepting cash. So I did stuff that when I first started it, knowing I don't want to be sitting in here every day.
Yeah, you started putting into place the tools necessary for you to be like a hands-off boss.
Exactly.
You could come in when you wanted, but majority of
Exactly.
the time it runs itself. And I love that idea of a business, whether it be a brick and mortar or an online business, that pretty much runs itself and you just have to do maintenance on it.
Right. Well, I mean, I'd like to say it's that clean and smooth. It's not quite so much, but I mean, like somebody will start. Exactly. Yeah. Somebody will start. Yeah. Well, now that I've moved it online, I mean, I've 10 times the business since I moved it online. I mean, it's, and I haven't even gotten started here. Like, really. So exciting.
It's only a few years old. It's already 10 times itself.
No, I mean, I pivoted it like in May
of last year.
Yeah. So since May, I have 10 times the business.
So the title of your next book is How to Make a School 10 Times More Profitable, I'm guessing. Something along those lines, or 10 times the profit of a school or something?
Well, if you think about, like, I had a little mini school. It was only, it was like a little bitty school, and it was literally 5-mile radius. I mean, nobody, how many people can I get in there?
Yeah.
So yeah, it was going online was, I think that I didn't really do it before because of the Latin culture wasn't all about online.
Mm-hmm.
And so because of COVID, I had to put it online and they had to take classes online. And so now everybody kind of knows that they can and that it works. And
you're the go-to school to go to.
Oh, it's so, yeah. So anyway, enough about the school. It's fun.
I'm just going to shoot this. Apparently some schools in North America are having problems with online teaching.
Oh yeah.
There's a possibility that you can have that market completely owned, because you've done it. You've taken a brick and mortar and put it online in a community that wasn't used to the online. So
we're actually doing some training here in Panama for a nonprofit to show them how to use Zoom so that they can use Zoom so that they can teach on Zoom. And so I don't even I have my own platform. So my school has, but I know how to use Zoom. I know how to teach them how to use Zoom. So I created a whole class, and it's a 2-day seminar that we're getting.
Wow.
Because they needed it. It was, it was a nonprofit. Sense. They needed it. And it's really, I mean, yeah, the whole education industry needs to be revamped desperately. And that was also one of the things, when you talk about what your company does, messaging is really, really, really important. And my messaging for my company is not dialed in yet as much as like exactly where I want it. So that's what I've been working on more than anything. I'll tell you exactly what I've been working on. Making sure I've got like it systematized as much as possible without going overboard yet, because I'm not really totally like where I want it to be. So I'm trying to do like not patchwork systems, but
putting something in place for now and see, okay, now it's in place. Where are the hiccups?
Is this a good flow?
Yeah,
exactly. Exactly. I'm kind of in that stage right now. So I think systematizing is one of the big things that companies don't look at enough, that they should look at enough. That's one of the things um, I think I mentioned, but I have the power profit formula. So that's one of the things that I do look at when I am consulting with a company. But anyway, and then the other thing, and the first thing that every company that's already up and going and before you start should look at is messaging. Like, are you articulating exactly what it is that makes you different, that makes you a company? Have you ever read Blue Ocean? I think
No,
it's
I
called
haven't.
okay, so since I didn't look this up before the podcast,
Let's
I
try
have
to
no
write
idea who the author is, if the name of the book, but it's something called like the Blue Ocean or something like
Give me a
that.
second.
And basically, what it is it's a marketing book, and the Red Ocean is where, like when sharks bite,
Yeah, the chumming
they
of the water.
blood. It's all the water's bloody. That's where all the people are, right?
All right, I found out who it's by. It's
Okay.
by W. Chan Kim and Renee Malborg. I probably destroyed their name. Blue Ocean Strategy.
Okay. So if you've never read the book, a little bit of a synopsis again, but it's basically the chumming of the water is where all of the people are, right?
Mhm.
You want the blue ocean. You want to be that one person in the middle of just blue waters. Everybody thinks that it's almost impossible. Everybody is like doing something already, right? So that's true. You're not reinventing the wheel. I am not the first person to have a consulting company. I am not the first person to have a language school.
Yeah.
Right. So what is it that makes you different? And that's what you really need to work on with your messaging. And so with my school, what the blue ocean of that school is that it is group classes. A lot of the big ones are one-on-one classes. And so what I'm doing is group classes, and I'm still working on the messaging on how to get that out like succinctly. But that it is a very different concept because like the really 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 big player in the market, they do group classes, but they do group classes where you just kind of come in and out of the classroom whenever you want to, like
It's not scheduled like a proper school.
exactly. And I am doing it, and it's so much more complicated and so much crazier, but it's so much more effective. It really is. And so the way that I'm doing it is almost like a real school. Like I have one class, same teachers, same kids, and they stay in the same group for like 12 weeks. And I don't follow the natural I don't follow the traditional, thank you, the traditional teaching, language teaching either.
No.
And so it's, because it doesn't work.
One, it probably doesn't work, or
It doesn't work.
Okay, I'm taking your word for it. It doesn't work.
I'm telling you from experience that I did traditional trying to learn Spanish my whole life and never learned it. I literally got a minor in Spanish and went to Spain and couldn't understand anyone. Like, hi, how are you? I was like, excuse me, what did you say?
I have a minor in Spanish, but apparently it doesn't work.
I didn't understand anybody. Couldn't say anything. It was crazy. Yeah.
All right.
Didn't work.
No. I love how you're disrupted. You're a disruptor now in the language school because you're changing the way the big players, the big player is doing it one way. You're like, that's an okay way, but this is actually the best way, because school, having a concrete teacher, going in and knowing every week I'm going to see the teacher, so I know how this teacher teaches, it helps me go on. That's why school is the way it is now. The education system, that needs to work, but the blueprint pretty much of keeping a student with the same teacher week in and week out, it's been proven. It's been proven countless times, but a disruption like you're doing is great. And I wish we had more time, but we're running out of time. So
no worries. So fun.
It's amazing. So as a big thank you to all my guests here at the who come on to the Invest in Yourself Digital Entrepreneur podcast, I give you the last 5 minutes pretty much to sell yourself. So
thank you.
You can talk about anything you want to talk about, your school, your business, anything really. It's all yours. And go ahead.
Awesome. All right. Thank you. Thank you, audience. As you can tell, I'm super passionate about marketing. I think it's fun. It's exciting. But I also studied a lot. I geek out on marketing. So it is something that I definitely know. And I look at, with my businesses that I consult, I also look at the financial side. I have an entire system that I go through. It's called the Power Profit Formula. And I actually have an online system where that I use with my clients. And so I will go through, it's about 40 different points that I can go through with each of my clients. And you can read about it, like you were talking about in the book. But I would go through each of those points with the clients just to figure out where the gap is, where your company is not doing exactly what it is that you want it to be doing. So the first thing I always do with my clients is find out, where they personally want to be and get them to align that with their business, because that's where most businesses, I think, go wrong, is they don't align that first part. And then I break down, like literally go through and look at each part of their business and just try to figure out where they're missing parts, where we can really make those very small changes, but like small incremental changes that will make just huge quantum leaps in what they do in their business. So that's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's called the Power Profit Formula. And if you want to find out more about that, you can find me on ericaleary.com. You hear that thing going by? Sorry.
All right. No worries.
Or powerprofitformula.com.
Give me a second here. There we go. And of course, one huge thank you for Erica for being on the show, giving us all this amazing story about how you started your career, where your career is going, how you pivoted your career pretty much into a different field, which that's amazing. And just for giving so much value to the guests and the listeners here. I can't thank you enough, Erica. I will be inviting you back next year because I want to see where your school is and where your consulting business is. Are you still in the business of schools, or are you on another business? Did you go into ice cream? Who knows what area Erica is going to disrupt next? Hopefully it's not podcasting, because I can't deal with that right now.
No, don't worry. It's not even in my sights.
Good. I have at least a good 2-year run before she'll catch up to me. Erica, thank you so much for being on. I will send you that folder. My
Awesome.
pleasure to help you out. I'm Phil. She's Erica. This is Invest in Yourself. Have a great day, guys. Guys, how awesome was that? Like, her story about her just jumping into it and just flying down to a Latin American country, didn't know the language, didn't know the people, and boom, she created this world-class business that is just thriving on top of her consultant business. My God, she's an inspiration, something that I'm probably going to end up doing one day if I can, just jump on a plane once all this is over. But yeah, that's the goal. And you guys can help me actually if you guys send me an email to book@feelbetterinc.com. That's BOOK@feelbetterinc.com, so that you guys can be one of the first to find out when I release my book, because it's at the editor right now. Everything's going good. We're fixing everything else up. It's going to be amazing. I'm looking forward to it. But again, make sure you check out Erica's website. I'm subscribed to her newsletter because I'm always on it, because it's great. She's been helping me with her content, and that's the show. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, invest in yourself.
Thanks for tuning in. Now it's time to take the next step. When you're ready to dive deeper into how to launch, grow, and monetize your podcast, Phil's got something special for you. Join him for a free webinar where he'll reveal the 3 secrets that have helped countless entrepreneurs succeed in podcasting. Click the link in the show notes to save your spot, and let's turn your podcasting dreams into reality.
Americans love using their credit cards, the most secure and hassle-free way to pay. But DC politicians want to change that with the Durbin-Marshall credit card bill. This bill lets corporate megastores pick how your credit card is processed, allowing them to use untested payment networks that jeopardize your data security and rewards. Corporate megastores will make more money, and you pay the price. Tell Congress to guard your card, because Americans lose when politicians choose. Learn more at guardyourcard.com.
You just realized your business needed to hire someone yesterday. How can you find amazing candidates fast? Easy. Just use Indeed. Stop struggling to get your job post seen on other job sites. With Indeed sponsored jobs, your post jumps to the top of the page for your relevant candidates, so you can reach the people you want faster. According to Indeed data, sponsored jobs posted directly on Indeed have 45% more applications than non-sponsored jobs. Don't wait any longer. Speed up your hiring right now with Indeed. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/PODKATZ13. Just go to Indeed.com/PODKATZ13 right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Hiring? Indeed is all you need.